So I'm Frida Cathcart. I am my background's in reinsurance as a reinsurance specialist, and I just wanted to show you why there's so much concerns. Nan Gray did an excellent job about explaining about the soils and why the conditions are unsafe. But I wanted to point out when the conditions are unsafe and there's not a competent person to have stopped construction, what happens. And this is where in West Virginia, this happened, the excavator tipped over on an organic farm. Now the pipeline construction company in West Virginia is Trinity. And it was on fairly flat ground, but the soil slipped and it made the excavator tip over. And when it did so, it did irreparable harm to the organic farm because it spilled chemicals and fluid onto the organic farm. And that's something that can't be changed now. So I wanted to make people aware of that. Do you want to go to the next slide? I think there's another.
Do you want that excavator?
Yeah, so this shows the men working around it and trying to clean up the soil. So the next one. Okay, so this, I actually took these photographs on, it was a mudslide on Yellow Fetch. It was just pretty much a regular summer storm dump that brought the precipitation. But again, the soil saturated. There's a hydrologist who sent a water table to us showing that in this region, we've had 125% to 200% of saturation with the water table being raised. And so this is what happens. There's no place for the land to go. And this was destabilized because of the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Now they're the construction project in this part of Virginia. And they're the ones that removed the ground cover that allowed this mudslide to happen onto Yellow Fetch. The construction that they did had supposed water bars that were supposed to prevent this from happening, but how can you do that on unstable soil? Go ahead and go to the next slide. So you might have trouble seeing, I wish I had a pointer, but there was about that much deep of, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, where it cut, where there was a land slippage that just came down, and that's what slid into the road. You can actually see where it just, a section of it just came down into the road. And it was about that deep. And these are the exact conditions that we are worried about when it comes to putting in a 42-inch high-capacity gas pipeline. If a slippage like that happened, that's where we see about those explosions happening other places. So for Precision Pipeline to be constructing this type of pipeline under these conditions is completely irresponsible, and there needs to be a competent person to stop it. Go ahead to the next slide. And then the excavator came and it flipped. This is where the excavator flipped. And I think there's another slide of that that shows it in the distance. Oh, that didn't make it? That's weird. I had a better slide than that showing it in